Hello and welcome to everyone to the review of today's show. And I have no other option but to take this comment by Shubham that Shoaib Bashir is tired and needs some rest before starting their stream. Yeah, I think he's gone into hiding, and I don't know why he would go into hiding after the kind of performance that he had yesterday. But we'll get to that later. Anyway, I'm joined with Nikhil today, and as you guys know, I'm Gurkirat. A good day for India. At some point of time, it did feel like that India could lose the initiative and England could really put pressure on India. But the cheat code that Indian team has, which is across formats, across phases, across conditions, turned up once again. And I'd really like to go to Nikhil and ask for his comments on the performance and the impact of the cheat code that we have.
Truly, truly. I mean, you can name the problem, and there is one solution, and that is Jasprit Bumrah. Just amazing fellow spell of fast bowling. More so because you could feel the pressure. जब क्रॉली रन्स बना रहे थे तो सभी को बहुत ज्यादा टेंशन आ रहा था कि भाई okay, this is looking like, oh no, India are probably 150 short. India are probably more than that short. They should have batted longer. But I still feel the most crucial wicket of the day still didn't belong at times to Bumrah, if you want to call it that way. It probably was to the guy who bowled only 4 overs, and that is Zach Crawley. So wicket of Zach Crawley taken by Axar Patel. So I think once that happened, you could sense when Bumrah started to bowl to Joe Root that something is setting up. And once he got Root, India had an opening, and then Bumrah just burst the door open. So I think at this point of time, all we should do firstly is be thankful. I think all of us, many of us, have put a lot of names on him, with many filters. Under this, under that, here, there. But to have 150 wickets in only these many tests, only Wakar Yunis has got there quicker. So there is a reason why he is who he is, and he took the pitch out of the equation once again. So it just tells you how great a bowler he is. And rightly, you can see the match summary, which puts a lot of blue in a comfort space. So Pati, you can take over here.
Yeah, I mean, you rightly mentioned, and you know, uh, at some point of time, I feel there also has to be some reason for concern because I don't think that a batter like Zach Crawley, with all due respect to him, should come out that way and be dominating Indian bowling attack. I know Bumrah got the Indian team out of jail today, but ideally the Indian team should be preparing and planning a little better than Zach Crawley taking the game away in that manner. I felt, firstly, I felt India sort of did not have the kind of start that they should have had to the day. They played the first half out early, but I felt that they should have capitalized more on it and got to minimum 400. That did not happen, and then it looked like that India were really looking for some answers to the questions that they did not prepare for. Luckily, Kuldeep did well and came up with that breakthrough. And yesterday, those who were watching would know that we had spoken about him being kind of an X factor because of how this pitch doesn't have that much assistance. So him with putting a lot more revs on the ball and doing something in the air could turn out to be someone who does well, and he did do well. Got 3 wickets. Nikhil, coming to you, do you think India could have done something differently in those first 20, 22 odd overs when Jack Crawley was going about his ways and it really looked like that he could score a big one?
See, I'll be very honest. None of those shots were of extreme risks. It wasn't that he was coming down the ground and hitting them off the length and sorts. It was just very good percentage risk-free batting. He was able to find the gaps, punch off the back foot, make Ashwin bowl the length where he could sweep him for six, and he even drew one ball which Ashwin was just trying to get Pope, to be a bit, here and there. So I think it just told me how great and how confidence can be a massive factor for somebody like a Crawley, who for once looked like a guy who can defend and play the long innings kind of sorts. But uh, today he was able to just use his feet and find a way to get to the ball and just make the most of it. And uh, it's actually very odd that the one thing that I felt India should have done is get Axar Patel on quicker to him because of the height that Axar has. And sometimes when you have a guy who has more height, he can make that good length, and also the bounce, because the bounce was there as a factor. it could have really worked in India's favor, and it did eventually. So if you go back to the graphic, you'd see that the ball where it is getting pitched, he came down wanting to hit, probably slightly on the similar to dismissal in the first test, where you felt that the timing of the dismissal could have been off, but India really benefited from that. Right pace, right line, and again, great catch by Shreyas. I think, uh, given India's history at times with dropping catches of key people, was very, very happy that Shreyas held on to that catch. And I think that was it for Axar Patel for the day. But there is definitely a lot more that India can do in terms of starting with Mukesh. Uh, Kuldeep came in at the right time. But yeah, Axar Patel definitely I felt should have come in a bit more earlier. Maybe it could have created a few more chances that Ashwin did, but they did not go to height. So I think I'll credit Crawley also, but there is always areas for India to improve. And of course, Soy Bashir is back after a nice bath, maybe. So welcome back.
After a nap, you know what? When India went into, of course, change, I've just taken a nap and I've woken up and I'm just like, have I missed my live show? And then I'm just like, the phones have gone off and I was like, shit, this is unbelievable. So I'm back. And how are you guys? First and foremost, guys, I know I've missed 5 minutes of it. What did we end up at stumps? Was it 28 for none?
Yeah,
Yep.
28 for none.
And was there any sort of Kremlins in the pitch the last time we saw India bat? We asked for the heavy roller, I guess. What was that last? I don't know. How long did we bat for that? 28 for none? 8 overs? 9 overs?
I think 5 overs. I think five
Yeah.
overs.
5 overs. Apologies.
Yep.
It's an absolute crazy match. Cricket.com. Like this video if you think you like this day as well. I just want to ask you guys generally, did Bumrah dominate the day more or did Jaiswal dominate the day more?
Today is Bumrah's day, hands down. You if Jaiswal was the toast of the day yesterday, today it had to be Jasprit Bumrah because uh, if you are to look at conditions, you look at the pitch, you'd say that a batter getting 200 is far more realistic and possible than a fast bowler, not even a spinner, than a fast bowler getting a six for. And you have to look at the wickets that he's taken. He got the number three batter out, he got the number four batter out, he got the number five batter as well as the number six batter out. So he literally got the cream of the batting lineup and then came to clean the tail as well. So it should definitely be among his top spells. Very difficult to say if it's among his top three or top five because such has been the quality of those spells that it's really difficult to compare across all the spells that he's had. But 10 fifers in just 34 test matches. I mean, the only country where he's not had a fifer so far is New Zealand, where the sample space has been really small for him. He's not played test matches in Sri Lanka. I'm sure whenever he plays in Sri Lanka, he'll get a fifer there as well. But in every country that he's played so far, except for New Zealand, he's managed to take a fifer.
Yeah, he's been absolutely breathtaking
Just
and more
talking,
on him.
just
Go on.
before we talk about Bumrah, just because we talked about Sri Lanka, Angel Matthews hit wicket on 141. Let's move on.
Yeah, I saw that a day of freak dismissals as well. And you shared the handling ball, of course, happening in the
Yeah.
under 19 cricket. It's unbelievable. Let's talk more about Bumrah because, like you guys rightly mentioned, day two has been all about Bumrah and more on him in the showstopper segment. Right. In particular, that third spell and even the fourth spell, to be fair, I think from 1:19 p.m. in the afternoon to like about 3:19 p.m., it was absolute tragedy for English fans. And this man in particular, six eventually for 45. Absolute gold dust in terms of bowling spells. Like Googly mentioned, 10th fifer in tests, and you can't really choose which one's best, but we'll have to, of course, ask the men right now. And more importantly, we'll take a look at his pitch map before we get more thoughts from them on Bumrah. You take a look at how he, of course, in that third spell in particular, went about his business and he fetched out the wickets of not just Joe Root, but also Ollie Pope, as you can see with that white ball in that Yorker area. Joe Root, again, the setup was absolutely brilliant. It's almost making a man who scored about 12,000 runs seem like an absolute fool playing that. And even Joe Root's telling reaction gave it all. Guys, just coming on Bumrah's spell right now. Nikhil, where does this spell sit for you in terms of how he's delivered today when India really wanted him to and needed him to?
Yeah, really, probably one of the best, maybe top two for a long time, because you have to again just look into it in terms of how he's completely taken the pitch so much out of it that it's been his brilliance, and he's being very aware of what to do with one particular batter, how to get them out, how to set up. He in the post they talked with the broadcaster. He was like, you have to learn reverse swing in India. You can't just come in, bowl inching, outswing, and expect to get wickets. You have to set them up well, and you have to use your deliveries nicely. And you could see that in the way he bowled to Joe Root. He was thereabouts, taking the ball away, getting a few to come in, which made Root feel ki, okay, now anyone can come a long way in, so I have to keep playing, which makes him search for it outside. And then he had that perfect one, just wide enough, but that angle makes him feel that okay, it will come in, and that nervy poke, and Root is gone. And the moment you get Root, you know that this guy, he's done his homework, and he's coming good so much that he's taking Joe Root out. India in this series so far haven't bore the brunt of any Joe Root specials, because it's been this guy who's taking care of him. And then comes Johnny Bairstow, and so many of us felt that he will bowl the Yorker first up. And it is credit to him and all of us combined that we know so much about Jasprit that he is a thinking guy. He's knowing that maybe that's the last thing that John is expecting. And he got it just minutely wrong in terms of missing, but then he bowls a pearl to Pope. I do not think I have seen a dismissal that makes me scream my lungs out at whatever age. Maybe only Bumrah can do it, because he starts wide and then he gets the ball to dip, and then by the time he's reaching him, it's a Yorker on leg stump. It's not even like off and middle where you are feeling okay, some part of my body will block it. So I think in just entirety, absolute control of what he wants to do. And if that was not enough, he's brought back into the attack later in the day. Rohit says, I need to get Stokes. Bumrah says, done, sir. He just comes in, bowls it just around off thumb peg backs. Ben Stokes is like, what is this? So like, you just got Bumrah. It is as good as that. And there's not much you can do when you get balls like that.
I mean, you mentioned that Rohit just asked him to do this. Rohit's almost asked him to do, listen, I want 5 titles. You give me 5 titles. I want a wicket whenever you give me. He's given Rohit, honestly, so much of success as a captain. It's unbelievable. But look, that's a story for another day. But you mentioned that pearl to Pope. And I want to ask Kirat on it. Does that define Bumrah or what in terms of being ferocious, right at it? What a ball. Have you seen better? And do you think any other batter in the world could have played that?
You would have had to be a very, very, very good batter to keep that out. I don't think. I think it's no shame to get dismissed to a delivery like that. It's something that I said about the Bairstow dismissal in the last test, and on that first day we said that the ball to dismiss Stokes was also a very good one, but it needed an Axar special to deny that wicket being the ball of the day. But today, you really, it could be a really, that the ball to Bairstow and this one to Pope. I think these two deliveries should be amongst the contenders to being the delivery of the series. And I've not seen in my lifetime someone produce a delivery like that in India, but I've seen clips of Akhtar bowling Tendulkar on that Yorker in Calcutta in '99. I've seen a little bit of Vakar on clips, not in real time, but this was as good as it gets. And it just goes in the similar Hall of Fame deliveries: the one to get Robinson out in Oval, coming around the wicket, bowling the slower one; the one to Marsh in MCG. And he had one more. He's had his. I mean, the one in the final was also a good one to Smith, even though it returned to be missing the stumps. But you have to see that such was his smartness in that dismissal itself, that the batter himself felt that I don't need to take a review and waste one. So there have been a lot of such deliveries, and yeah, I mean, you have to celebrate and treasure till the time he's playing, and definitely should go down as amongst the top three, or if not top three, then at least top five Test cricketers that India have had easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, you know what, the only thing which was missing in that Bumrah wicket was a Virat Kohli celebration in the ground. The Imagine that, because like Nikhil mentioned, we all kind of jumped out of our chairs whenever we were watching that, and we were like, "Come on, India are back in it." You just needed like the Kohli celebration on the pitch, and hopefully you'll get that in days ahead. Lots more comments coming through, which is always good to see. Pranavan, good to see you. DOF, I'm guessing you're some DOF of some sort, director of football, I'm guessing. Akhil Nair, Ashutosh Bajpa, and Narayan123. We'll take all your comments as well. And please like this particular video, because what an exhilarating day of Test cricket. We all sat here 24 hours ago and criticizing India, even though they got the runs on the board. But Bumrah has made that 396 look absolutely brilliant. In India, again, no hiccups before stumps, which we'll talk about in our next segment called What's Next. Let's go. Ruben Loganathan, we'll address your question as well in just a bit. And hello to Kushal Shah. But what's next? Well, day 3. And so often they say it's the moving day. How do you think this game is going to move then? In what direction? Because India right now have it by the horns, so to speak. If this game was a bull, Nikhil, where can they steer this game to?
Bat all day. There is no hurry. The pitch is still very good to bat on. There is absolutely no need to also bat at a very, very high positive rate. Be positive however you want to play. There's no need
But
to feel.
what's a safe target?
See, the safe target is you can already see the ball spin a bit. There is extra bounce. There is some that have kept low. And uh, traditionally, this is a wicket that suddenly will start to deteriorate a lot more. But so far, we haven't seen that happening. So I think that lead could be very, very handy for India to have, even in the slightly worst case scenario of losing 2-3 very early. I hope that doesn't happen. But the lead should ensure that you still have that cushion of score. Uh, to me, I would want at least 350 in terms of the target. So there is still 200. The lead is 171 right now. At least 200 more runs from here is the least that I will want. And then, as I said, just bat all day and see if it is starting to do a bit more. Maybe by tomorrow, post lunch or tea, that's when you press the accelerator. That okay, now we know this could really end, because this is a deck where you could lose 4 or 5 very, very easily, just in a phase of time, and then you could have a phase where nothing happens. So I think that is to be taken care of. But bat big as long as you can. If you want to bat all day,
There will be players playing for their position and spots in the team, Gurkirat, with regards to Shreyas and Shubman. But India are in a commanding position. Do you think that'll actually give them the benefit of the doubt in terms of giving the freedom and going out to just elongate this 171 lead as much as possible, right?
See, I've always felt that once you know you have your back against the walls in terms of your spot in the team. I think the best way to bat is the way you've succeeded most of your career. So regardless of what the situation is, I think both of them need to be a little more positive and back themselves in doing what they've done before and go about it, because we saw how even though both of them batted, I still believe that both of them batted in the way that they know. But you saw how Rohit was batting. He was a little more circumspect and missed out on boundary hitting opportunities, and did not really help him in any way. So this lead would surely help them. But yeah, you'd hope that that the first session goes as per the plan. I personally want India to bat till end of tomorrow, and the best scenario would be for them batting till lunch on fourth day, because this is still a decent enough pitch to bat. You also have to take time out of equation. Say if India bat and score 250 odd runs in this innings, they will eventually still set up a target near to 400 for England, but it would still leave a lot of time in the game, right? Which could allow the opposition to bat in conditions which are still conducive for batting. So you want India to also bat long and not just bat big. Hoping that India bat at least till stumps tomorrow and take it forward from there. And yes, say if Gill is coming out to bat when the lead is already 250, it will help him. when Shreyas is coming out to bat when the lead is already 350. It will help him, because that would mean that the opposition cannot attack as much as they would want. There would be easy singles available, so there will not be as much pressure in terms of looking to score or finding a way to score. So hoping that this leads help them, but eventually they still have to play to the merit of the ball and play the way they know best, because if they don't score regardless of the result, both of them could lose their spots in the next test match.
So right now, can you tell the Indian fans and the viewers watching this, what is that one score in your head where you think England has no chance to get on this pitch in the fourth innings? Is it 370? Is it 400? Just be honest.
No, I think if I'm looking at India scoring 300 runs in this innings, that would mean a target of around 450. So 300, I still think this is a pitch where India can get to 300 runs in an innings, and we saw England do that, wherein they scored 430 in the third innings. So 300 runs is something which I think should be par for the course, because I don't think, and for me, the pitch hasn't broken enough for you to have alarm bells ringing in your mind when you come out to bat. Maybe it will start breaking up tomorrow post tea, but so far from what I have watched, 300 runs in this innings should be manageable, and from there on, once you've gotten 450 runs, those are enough runs to dismiss a side. If a side still goes and chases 450, then you give them the credit and accept that they've been the better team.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have to tip our hat in terms of any outrageous knocks from the English batters. Jaydeep saying 1,000, and then Harke Cricket is saying, you're talking crazy, man. You're talking crazy. But Nitin, you're agreeing with Nikhil, which he, of course, said a while ago right now that India should bat the entire day three and literally just stomp the authority on this game. We'll take some more questions right now, and we want to talk about some more individuals from this team India. We spoke about Bumrah, if you guys just missed it, and Jaiswal, the whole appreciation club was there yesterday, but we'll talk about that double under and what it means for him going forward as well. I want to throw light on Kuldeep Yadav, guys. The fact that yes, he's come in to, of course, take in that second spinner role, given the fact that Jadeja is out, and you feel like he's always been in the test squad, but he's never been able to kind of penetrate beyond that Ashwin, Jadeja, Axar trio, and now he's got his chance. Do you think this test, let alone what he's done in the first innings, is a huge, huge push in the right direction for Kuldeep Yadav, the test match cricketer? Because let's face it, if he can keep himself fit, he's a big asset, even with the red ball in hand. Gurkirat first.
Yeah, I mean, on pitches where there isn't a lot of help, especially like days like today, or if you have to bowl on day one of a test match, you need something extra. You need something extra in terms of the trajectory, or doing something which is not related to the pitch. Sometimes it could just be, the batter's not picking you from the hand, which is often the case with a lot of wrist spinners. And we have seen in the last 1.5 year that Kuldeep, owing to his better fitness, is also able to manage his pace better and control it. So there were shades of that again today. I do feel that India missed a trick early on when Pope came out to bat, that they did not have a silly point or a short leg or a leg slip to bring the bat pad into equation when Kuldeep was bowling. Because I think from what I could see was that Pope was very adamant to just have his bat in front of the pad to not succumb to any LBW shout, right? And when a batter's really not sure, the chances of him edging or just finding the short leg fielder or the silly point fielder are a lot more, and that is something. If a fielder's there, then it is going to bring in that doubt. With those
That's
fielders
down,
not
that's
being
down
there,
more to Rohit, right? I mean, or do you
yeah,
put
yeah,
it down to Kuldeep?
it has to be both, because when the plans are formed, it cannot be on the basis of the captain alone. I feel most of the bowling plans will involve the bowler involved and the captain being there, so it's probably
But for
down
how
to
many
both.
times? But for how many times have we seen Kuldeep bowl with this Dhoni's fields? I know it's the Dhoni case, but generally Rohit could have, like you mentioned, it's something that we were looking at and being armchair critics back home. Like, how the hell is there a short leg not there? There was a chance just a while ago with Ashwin, of course, creating that chance with Patida just being slightly wider and leg slip. So all of these things, obviously, you can't really blame the bowler. You'll blame the captain more. But if you think those positions were in play, do you think Kuldeep would have been more successful?
I do think so. At least, if not in terms of the wickets column, then probably creating a little few more chances. Because when there is no close-in fielder, as a batter, you can just keep your bat in front of the pad and not worry about where the ball will fly, as long as it's in front of the stumps, because there are no fielders to catch it. So probably it would have created a few more chances or fall short. But I think you'd hope that the same mistake is not repeated when England come out to bat again.
Yeah, and lots of people in the comments going to diss KS Bharat for that Ollie Pope miss stumping. It was a tough one, but we know who would have really taken it. Greg saying, go with Jadeja, Akshar, Ashwin, Kuldeep, drop Mukesh. Kuldeep's Chinaman is very difficult to read. Nikhil, I just want to ask you if India will probably go ahead to do that in this series, given that Jadeja will probably be back in the third or fourth. Then they'll have all four at their disposal. Why don't you chuck them all in? What's so bad?
You wanted Mukesh in, for this game. So I said in the past as well that India invariably don't use their bowlers well. It was evident even today when you see Axar Patel just bowling 4 overs. So that will be there. But for the same reason, who's more likely to create chance in that shorter spell as compared to the pacer? So still feel there was enough for him to do well. Slightly disappointed also with Mukesh in terms of the lengths that he bowled, because for some reason India wants to always try that fuller ball earlier because they want the swing, but it isn't coming, and then that adjustment is not coming through, which makes that spell from Bumrah even more, uh, you know, can't get the word to just emphasize how crucial that is, because he's like a it's like a machine being said, this is the deck, this is the right place to bowl. Okay, sir, done. The other bowlers are taking time to adjust angles and all. Bumrah is just figuring it out all by himself in that very little first spell. So I think uh, it also tells about the gulf that's there. But I felt Mukesh is a better red ball bowler. Uh, I think we'll see him being bowled more as well, wanting to give him that confidence in the second innings. But if it doesn't come through, then maybe in the coming test we could see that change. I won't be surprised if Unadkat comes back for Rajkot. No better place to try him there. Maybe Dharamshala is where you can get back Mukesh if you want to.
Yeah, we'll talk about Mukesh in just a bit because lots of people asking about Mukesh in the comments as well, and Rohan Patel likewise. Now, before we go into Mukesh, I just want to ask you about Akshar Gujrat, because he really kind of opened the door with that Crawley dismissal. They were going really well. I felt like there was a brain fade moment over there. And you look at the speed of the ball before the dismissal compared to, of course, the dismissal ball himself. And as you can see, it's depicted well here. What was it? Do you think, again, it was a rush of blood from Zach Crawley, you feel, at that moment in time? Because they were 114 for one. Was it just a downright embarrassing mistake from their opener?
Yeah, it probably had more to do with Crawley's mindset in terms of not allowing a new bowler to settle in, because more than the speed, I feel it had more to do with the line, because there's only 0.4 kilometer per hour difference in terms of speed, so that's not a lot, but you can see that the line was slightly different. So it was probably down to that, and kudos to Shreyas on holding on to that, because what you also felt with this Indian team at points is that once an opportunity goes begging, they're not able to let it go and look at creating new opportunities. They're not able to take their focus away from that. One instance of this was in Cape Town, the last time India were touring, when that reversal of that LBW dismissal happened from Ashwin to Elgar, and you've seen that on quite a few occasions, that they've not been able to focus on the new opportunity or create new opportunities. So that was one thing. But when you had not joined, Nikhil had mentioned about how he also felt that Akshar could have been brought in early to have a go at Zach Crawley and see what he does. And the him bowling only 4 overs is something which is why I've said that I'm not in favor of playing four spinners, because you will invariably end up bowling lesser of one of them, and that will also affect how long of a spell or how much does a captain persist with one particular one particular spinner. Today Akshar bowled only four. You saw even Ashwin did not get a lot of bowling after that first spell. I mean, post T, Ashwin hardly bowled. So, if you have If you have Bumrah and if you have all these bowlers, then playing a fourth spinner, I am not sure how much it will help. Maybe if it's a turner and you feel that okay, ball will do all sort of things just from the pitch, you can try that, but it's still going to be a risky proposition because it will not be easy always, because Bumrah will not on all days be able to produce a spell like that. You do need a backup pacer. Now you could agree and criticize you could disagree and criticize Mukesh's execution, but I still feel that going in with one pacer, these are not pitches to go in with one pacer. England realized that in the last game, and there's still the second innings left. And I'm sure at points England have also realized that, because they did not take the second new ball yesterday when it was due. They only did it today. So there are a lot of risk involved by going in with just one pacer.
Let's talk about that second pacer then today in Mukesh and how he came in. What did you guys make of it? Because always it was going to be that new ball, couple of overs at the top, and if he failed in that test, then he was not going to get the ball for a while, and that's exactly what transpired. He got the ball later, and I was expecting him to be more at it and more probably full throttle against James Anderson just to knock over that tail, but even that wasn't to be for Mukesh. What do you put it down to, Nix? I mean, I know Siraj kind of went out in Hyderabad and Mukesh comes in here, and India kind of feel more comfortable by playing that second seamer. How do you kind of rate his performance so far today?
If forgettable, I'll feel, and I'll be honest that I also expected more of him. And actually, he is a red ball bowler more than the white ball bowler. So that makes that expectation and the thing that we saw today be even bit more of a off that. Okay, it's a bit here and there. You can see it's far more full than it should be. Should have been a bit more behind. But then the problem here is when you're getting very little time in terms of spells to get into, there is very little margin of error, which is what I feel happened with Siraj also in that first spell that he bowled. That I mean, that's the difference between mortals and Bumrah. That Bumrah can do that in his mind, but not everybody can. So I think maybe a longer spell would have helped. Maybe if it wasn't Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley and some other batter who was happy to take his time, maybe then Mukesh would have eventually found his length. Which is why I felt that Rohit got him back a couple more times, that get into the group, because there was enough on this deck for him to use in terms of being accurate. And I think that is the one thing that we kept speaking. As compared to Siraj, maybe Mukesh will offer India more control. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But I'm looking forward to that course correction in the second gig. And I think, yeah, that will probably decide how you go in terms of his usage also.
I also feel, somewhere we've been spoiled due to Bumrah, that we expect uh, any pacer to come in and straight away deliver and show that control. I also feel a lot of fans have forgotten how the initial years of an Ishant Sharma or Mohammad Shami were. If you go back and watch Mohammad Shami before 2015, you watch him bowl in that first tour in Australia in 2014, you watch Ishant Sharma bowl, or you watch Umesh Yadav bowl, there were times when they also struggled with their lines and lengths in the first spell itself. What makes it difficult for the likes of Siraj or Mukesh is that they are attacking those lengths which you usually don't expect other batters to attack, right? So that makes the margin of error even smaller, and it makes the bowlers even more prone to mistakes. Forget it happening to Mukesh or Siraj, it is even happening to Ashwin in some ways. It is making Ashwin think that what is the speed that I want to bowl. It is making even Akshar think. So with these paces, it's always going to be a little more difficult in terms of showing control. So somewhere for this, you have to give credit to the English batters as well. I'm not saying that what Mukesh did was right, or he did not make mistakes. I'm just talking about the psyche which is making which is bringing a lot of those mistakes into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the name of the game is, because you have to force errors. And I feel like Ashwin will probably come back. He's always a learner. And you've given some examples of the past, which is spot on. All I'd say about Mukesh Kumar today, you look at his first ever ball that he bowled in this test match, and it was nearly a chop on. Ben Duckett was so
Exactly.
lucky. That could have really, I don't know, it's just a fine line, this. And sometimes you need that 5% of luck. If that was crashing out of the stump, people would have been like, Masterstroke from
Masterstroke.
Rohit Sharma, getting in Mukesh. Brilliant stuff. He's made it already. He's already the replacement for Umesh and Ishant and all of that stuff. And all I'm saying is then he would have had his tail up. Then he would have kind of, added to that. Now, what I said that India would probably go in with Mukesh is I felt that Siraj was genuinely burning down, and Mukesh felt that he would be the next in line if they needed a backup pacer. They went in with him because he is good in terms of bowling that nagging length, just back of the line. But like Som pointed out, like we saw, England are really good to negate that with their attacking play. And I think that threw him off, eventually made him overcompensate, and eventually made him kind of bowl balls slightly fuller. And then fans, of course, like Jaydeep saying, is Mukesh really accurate in domestic? Because those half volleys and leg we hear and again. And sometimes, look, like Kukiran mentioned, it's the batting intent which can put any bowler off.
And I was exactly coming to that this is where you are seeing one of those effects of the baseball thing, about how there being very little time for anybody to adjust to the change of plans. I we talked about Green said this after the Ashes, that the intensity when you are bowling, you're not used to that kind of intensity when you're fielding. That something is happening every single ball. You're not being allowed to bowl at the pace you want to. And I think that is, as you said, it's credit to England that they are the ones who are controlling what the pace of the game should be. And that is something will also be very good to see in terms of India's response, that after two tests, how is it that India want them to bat? Because clearly, as of now, everything is being dictated by how England bat in terms of shorter spells, shorter bursts, get those spinners on early. So I think that is true credit England as well. That somewhere down the line, we are now experiencing those effects of these are not known, but now we are seeing the after effects of just having that intent with the bat.
Yeah, they're winning mini battles. You look at even how they approached Ashwin today, and Dorf, you mentioned a very good point. He was very
Yeah,
good and he was unlucky.
yeah,
Gill, of course, who was splendid in the field with 4 catches, nearly had five
yeah.
if he got Crawley out as well. But England have, of course, taken the game forward, even with them getting capitulated and conceding a huge lead. Only time will tell how much India will get. We'll have to wrap up proceedings on cricket.com today, but before that, we will, of course, showcase some trivia. And here's another one of our Googlies. Go on. Right. Remember, yesterday we asked you who was the first Indian opener to register 150 plus score against England in Test. Because, of course, Jaiswal was 178 not out yesterday at Stumps, so it was only apt we asked you that. Jaiswal became the 9th man to do it. We wanted to know who the first was, and we knew we had to kind of go through the archives to look at the answer. It was indeed Vijay Merchant way back in the 50s. So kudos to people who got that. I think Shubham Gupta got that, but if you guys have got that just right now, or of course late last night, listen in, because there's another one heading your way. Can you play this googly out? Well, I'm pretty sure that you guys can. Now, when was the last time Ravichandran Ashwin bowled 10 plus overs and went wicketless in a home test? We were just speaking about him. Gurkirat just mentioned about how Ashwin, of course, had to learn, went from around over the wicket, still no success. Do you guys want to put a finger and help the viewers? When was the last time Ashwin went wicketless? Can you think of any instances, Gurkirat? I know you know the answer, but now you'll pretend to, go around it. And he's on mute.
See, and he's on mute. So yes, the ritual is done. Glad. Thank you so much, Ash. Shabash, shabash, Ashwin.
Yeah. Okay, so it says 10 plus overs. So my guess, my first guess without thinking anything would have been, one of the pink ball tests. But I remember him taking wickets in that Sri Lanka test match. In the Bangladesh test match, I know the spinners did not get any wickets because it was Ishant and Umesh getting a lot of wickets, where I think they had 10 and 9 wickets each, with one of them being a run out. Uh, 10 plus. Then you have to look at maybe 2019 series when the pitches were good enough. One of those test
He's
matches.
he's great manipulator. If you guys had any clue about how good a manipulator Paji is with his words, देखिए सीखिए इनसे सीखिए.
क्या मैनिपुलेशन, कुछ मैनिपुलेशन नहीं करी.
He knows the answer and he's being able to know just beating around the bush so well, nicely.
No, so I'm letting the guys, watching, get some clues, because otherwise it's difficult to get to it.
No, it is,
Right.
but yeah, well faked, Paji, if we could say it and put it that way, because it's so often that you look at a match and you think,
बोलते
Wow,
बोलते
even Avnish
mute.
is now bolte mute ho gaya. It is the loud this
oh,
now
no, I was gonna
powers.
cough. That's how I was just gonna put that out. Anything else we want to talk about day two? We of course said we will of course speak about Jaiswal again because this boy, he's 22 and he already has the fastest IPL 50. He already has a double ton for India in Tests. He has a Test century to boast on debut. He probably has other records which you guys can just factor in on that beautiful resume of his. Where is it going to be for Jaiswal in 5 years, 10 years' time? Because it's not very often that we see Indian openers go on and really capture what is there. We've seen a story like Prithvi Shaw, who showed his signs against the West Indies in 2018 Test match. We've seen it even with others. But what is the future with Jaiswal, and how do you think Indian cricket should wrap this youngster around cotton wool and so on and so forth? Go Kirat first, and then Nikhil, and I'll dash off to the loo really quickly.
Firstly, they need to figure out what is his best format, because it's something that we have spoken of. If they try to use him in all three formats, eventually his game will get affected in one of them.
Yeah.
Right now, he doesn't seem to be in ODI scheme of things, which is okay. He's there in T20s and in test matches. You really need his intent in T20s. And in test matches, he also breaks that monotony or the one-sidedness of having only right-handers. So that makes a difference. And I think that was also a factor in how he was able to negate Anderson to some extent, because Anderson numbers wise also has great numbers versus right-handers as opposed to left-handers. So that is one advantage. The best thing for me, I think, when he was playing his first IPL, and that was the 2021 IPL, which was held in two parts. In the first leg that you saw him play in India, you felt that he really had to put on a lot of muscle. He was struggling against the rising shot delivery. I was watching a few games of Syed Mushtaq Ali, and I felt that he was really troubled by the bounce that Ishant Sharma was generating, and that was in Kotla of all places. So I figured that this guy would probably need to work on his game against bounce. But since then, he has worked on it. And he's shown that when it comes to playing square of the wicket, he's not only able to time it, he's also able to generate a lot of power while doing it. So far, the signs are good. You would have to sort of, still say that there are still some, tests that he'll have to pass before you really, say that he could really go down as a legend. But signs are good. He's shown the tendency to work on his game, work on his weaknesses early on. Now, as you play more, you would find out that okay, teams will be able to figure out some weakness of sorts of yours, and then how you counter it would determine how far you go. So let's wait for that hurdle. But till then, celebrate someone doing so well, and saving you the blushes when the rest of batting line did not really turn up at all.
Who was the last like young batter in Test cricket to get a double hundred? I'm trying to think of it. Even when Crawley got his against Pakistan 267, how old was he? Was he around 21 at the time that
Did
he played?
Kyle Myers get?
Myers, Bangladesh. Yeah.
I think Myers, when that chase happened of 400 runs or
But
something.
how old was Mayers when he got that?
I think he was
Not as young.
21 or 20. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
not sure of the age. But it happened, I think, in 2021, if I'm not wrong, the same day where, or round about the same time the Gabba win happened, if I'm not
Hmm.
wrong. So there was that. But yeah, who else? Young batter scoring a double.
Brathwaite,
Brathwaite.
2014 against Bangladesh.
Yeah,
Karan
don't
Nair,
have.
300 saying Shubham Gupta. I don't know how
But
Karan.
Karun Nair, I think, was 25, 26 when he got that.
Yeah, at the time, I mean, there's so many players that you could state when they were 23, 24 to get a 100, double 100, beg your pardon. You think about
Yeah.
even Joe Root when he got it against Sri Lanka, I think it was. And now I'm just opening up the record books to check out more. More on cricket.com, by the way. There's a huge bunch of names there.
Yeah.
Sarwan, De Villiers, Williamson, Stokes himself, Ryder, Pujara. Let us know. I mean, if you guys really think that this innings from Jaiswal was right up there in terms of the last 10 years in tests at home, or do you think otherwise? Thinking about Jaiswal then, just the fact that even today, even though he was running out of partners, fearless, absolutely fearless.
Then, if you ask me honestly, I'd want him to just focus on test. I'd love if he can be there and be the guy who's here, who's the core of this test batting unit for a long period of time because he's very young. He has a lot of time in terms of working, and if you're only playing a couple of formats, it will also ease his workload. And I would do with the young left-hander getting to very early to call the number of runs that I want him to score. But I would really love if somebody like him can be right at the top of the order, setting the tone for the test side because I think we've lacked that since some time now. And he's compact also, so it's not that I'm just looking at quick runs. You're looking at the maturity that is already shown in terms of batting big. We've seen a lot of 60s, 70s, 80s, but it's always good to see a young batter going on and scoring 150 plus. So I hope they can keep him to only Test and T20s if that is the case, because there are other people to take care of the shorter formats.
Okay, let's see how this whole Jaiswal stories motors along. And of course, we'll be there after a motoring day tomorrow at the same time, same place. I keep saying that because yesterday we were late. Today I fell asleep. Tomorrow, 100% bang on time. So apologies to the producer. Apologies to everyone else in terms of watching this match review. But look, a shout out to all you guys watching on X and Instagram. Please like this video. And if you guys are just joining us, you can have a look at what Nikhil and Gukira thought about the day's proceedings, what they made of Bumrah's fiery spell, and lots more in this cracking chat. So give us a follow and a like, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, it's a goodbye from three of us. Go check out some written features on cricket.com's website and app right now, and we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. It's a goodbye from us. Cheers.
Chak de. Cheers.